What's going on, guys? I wanted to tell you why I think the UFC card is going to happen, why I believe so strongly in this White House card. Right now, obviously, we have UFC pundits like Chael, which I love his content, one of the greatest uh, talkers in the game, one of the greatest trash talkers in the UFC. But again, he's already spoken about why he doesn't like the idea. He says, it's from a sports first standpoint, it doesn't make ton of sense, right? You're burning the contenders, you're compressing the divisions, and it messes with the normal rhythm of the UFC calendar. But let's look at where we're at from a number of championship bouts standpoint. Right now, the UFC schedules anywhere from 19 to 21 championship bouts per year. 2025, we had 21, 24, we had 19, and in 23, we had 21 as well. So I'm just looking at the last couple of years. It fluctuates pretty much 19, 21. Now, that's 40%, give or take, of all annual UFC fights on one card. So, based on the numbers, it looks terrible, right? From a business standpoint, from an inventory standpoint, you're essentially wiping out one third of your overall, supply merchandise, right? For one event. I get that. But let's also look at why the UFC is doing this intentionally, right? Let's look at what goes down around June 14th or, in that lapse of time, right? The summer. What is the UFC's stiffest competition or what are they dealing with in terms of other sports? Because I think that plays a large part into it. So, pretty much off the rip, the NBA Finals, right? We have the NBA Finals. Uh, I believe right now, I was Google searching it, and right now they start on June 4th. Now, here's the kicker. The NBA only announced when the finals are going to begin. It doesn't have the dates for the remaining four, potentially 7 game series. So, right now, if you're ESPN and you just lost the UFC because I believe ABC, ESPN own the rights for the NBA finals. Yep, here it is. They are going to be able to schedule this according to the need, right? They're not going to go head to head with the UFC. And again, the June 14th card is slated for a Sunday, which I find it odd, but again, it's going to be a Sunday. Now, what else about the NBA may interfere? Let's talk about the markets. We look at the top markets right now. If New York Knicks make the finals, okay, yeah, you have a large market. You have New York, but again, it's not going to go down the same day. You have Boston, major market, right? Detroit, I guess, right? But then look at the West Coast. Oklahoma City, San Antonio, Denver Nuggets, and Minnesota Timberwolves. Realistically, one of those four teams are going to be in the finals at this stage, right? So again, not a lot of competition from the market standpoint either. So the UFC isn't walking into crowded sports weekend here, right? Now, what's the other major global event? It has to be the FIFA World Cup. So it kicks off on June 11th. For June 14th, these are the matchups they have slated: Australia versus TBD, Germany, Curacao, Ivory Coast, Ecuador, Tunisia, TBD, Japan, and Netherlands. Now, we know maybe the Japan matchup might be the most influential because we know that the UFC's largest markets outside of the US would be Brazil, um, China, if I'm not mistaken, and then Japan. So again, I don't think that's going to affect the viewerships. I don't see this really being an issue for the viewers, right? But then let's also talk about the marketing aspect of this event. This is tailored to be an American event, right? You know, Bald Eagle, right? It's going to be American media, American casual viewers. They are trying deliberately to make this a domestic product, right? It's to highlight the 250-year anniversary of the United States. Again, let's also talk about something people are forgetting between November and January, right? Because the UFC 324 and 325 will take place in the month of January, the calendar month, right? How many fights, how many title fights have we had from November to the end of January? Let's look at that, right? Let's look at that. We had seven, we're gonna have seven championship bouts between November 15th and January 31st. And let's just recap that. We're talking Jack Della Islam. We had Valentina Weili, that's two. Then we had the December event. Where was that? There we go. Dvalishvili versus Jan. And then we had Alexander Pantoja versus Joshua Van. Let's also not forget that Joshua appeared unscathed from that. And I mean, it was 20-second bout, right? No damage to Joshua Van. Pantoja, on the other side, is already training, and he did not have to receive surgery, so he'll probably be ready. They're already timing him to come back in. Uh, what is it? I think they said around June, right? So he's already training. Again, I don't want to see him. I think he needs to take more time, but nonetheless, he might be at play. We have then on the most recent card, the 324 coming up, we're going to have two championship bouts. And God forbid that both Gagey and Kayla Harrison win. They're automatically locks for the White House. And for the 155s, right? Let's not forget for the lightweight division, Ilya Taporia just put out a statement stating, he's already starting to clean up a lot of that child custody with his soon-to-be ex-wife, or I don't know if they're married. Quite frankly, I don't care. Nonetheless, he's already aiming for a May, June back to competition. So wouldn't that be the headliner? Gagey versus Ilya Taporia? And then Kayla Harrison against whoever you want, right? Probably, I don't know if they'll put Juliana Pena back in there. I'd have to look at the rankings for the bantamweight division, but nonetheless, there you go. You have your main and your co-main right off the rip if the stars align. Again, in my picks, I am taking Patty and Amanda, but this is the UFC. Any given night, there can be an upset, right? Okay, so we touched upon that. We have seven championship bouts. We have no major sporting events, or again, if they're smart, the NBA Finals are not going to go head to head against the Paramount card, right? The White House card. The World Cup, again, outside of Japan, I don't see viewership really dipping for the market that the UFC is catering to, which again is the US market. We know that there's a lot of heavy influence in Canada and Mexico. They're going to be tuning in. So I don't think they're going to be losing money. Again, another thing that we're forgetting is this is going to be tailored almost like a Super Bowl event. And CBS, right, is one of the rotating partners for Super Bowl events annually. So again, they know what they're doing. They are going to sell this commercial time. This goes back into one of the videos that I've also put out there. I believe we're going to see a lot more commercials. I believe we're going to see a lot more control from a marketing standpoint as CBS and Paramount start to get more involved, right? So that's going to be premium advertising inventory. All right. So this is what I think happens. Not because it's clean, not because purists like it, but because incentives line up. Chael's right. This doesn't serve the sport in a traditional sense, but it's serving the moment. You're bringing in political casuals into the event. Again, controversy sells people, right? Whether you agree or disagree with Trump and his politics, you're going to get the eyeballs. You have CBS. The UFC does not need to sell out, right? They don't need to sell pay-per-views. This is going to be more of what do they call it? PLEs on the WWE side, a premium live event. So this is going to go down. Again, I'm taking the under. I think we'll see 5 to maybe 6 championship events, and the key is going to be the length. I think that's the biggest obstacle the UFC has. You cannot have five 5-minute rounds times 10, right? Or it's going to be literally just main card. They're going to tighten it up. It's going to be maybe a 3 4 hour main card, and let's go home. So I think this is going to happen. I think a lot of us are forgetting that the UFC does not need to sell out pay-per-views anymore. You have the backing of a major firm in Paramount Plus, CBS that are going to handle the advertising. This is going down, people. This is going to happen. Tell me what your thoughts are, comments, why you disagree, why you don't like it. I'll talk to you guys later. Take care.